Hello. I thought I would show you my process as I make it up as I go along for turning some of these napkin overlaid onto paper into things. So I'm going to start with the ones that are really good and dry, which are these tulip ones that I intended to make into tags because they're just the perfect size for that. And this one I'm going to make into like a flip for a book, inside a book. I think all I'm going to do on this is round the corners. And I'll just take my punch, and that's not big enough. I'll take it and do it. Sorry. Make sure it's in there properly. Just realized my light wasn't on. So that's that one. I think I'm not going to do much else to that right now. Just round the corners. I don't think it even needs to be antiqued, but it could end up getting antiqued at the time. So there's that. It'll flip out, and these are the ones I really wanted to work on. So these are all just perfect size and shape for a tag. So I'm going to use my trimmer to trim them up. You'll notice when I put these onto the paper, I left a little border of the cardstock showing. So I'm going to try to leave the same amount on the other side. So I'm just eyeballing it. And the tulip paper probably isn't perfectly square on there. That works. See, this is wider at the top, at the bottom than it is at the top. That's okay. And then I'm going to trim this one again. Actually, I'll do this one first. So I got about the same amount on each side of this one, this left one. And again, it's not the same at the top and the bottom, so I'm just kind of going as close as I can get. And then this one now, this side's a little wide, so I'll just trim that just a bit. No measuring, just eyeballing. And then I'll go ahead and do these other ones while I'm at it. These could also just be belly bands instead of tags. So maybe I'll do one set as tags and one set as belly bands. And that way, if I use them in the same journal, it won't be so repetitive because it'll just be like in one section of the book, it will be tucked in a pocket. And then in another part of the book, it'll be a belly band. So it won't be too much of any one thing. Now this one is not too bad. It could be trimmed a little bit on this side. Not much, but I will trim a little bit. And this one I think I may leave square as a journaling card, so I'll just round the edges. This one. This is the medium size. Oh, that's the big size. It's okay. Stick with what I started with. And I never used to like the look of rounded corners. In my design life too, as a kitchen designer, I don't like rounded corners on countertops. But when it comes to putting something in and out of a pocket, it makes sense to have the rounded corners so that because if you leave the corners square, they're always going to get dog-eared and ripped and torn and so on. So I do it for that reason now, is round the corners for that reason. So it has a more casual look, maybe a little bit more modern, but it does prevent that damage somewhat. So that'll be a journaling card, and I may embellish it further with like a tag or a label or something like that. It doesn't really need to have the edges inked because it's such beautiful coffee dyed paper already, but when the time comes, that might happen too. And then this little guy, I think I'll make him into a tag, but I will do the corners on the bottom edge And I'll do the smaller corners. I think that just is more proportionate. And then the top edge, I'm going to just do eyeball it again. I'm going to go up about as far, like this distance here is maybe a little less than 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go up that far and cut a triangle. And then you take that same triangle, flip it over, put it on the other side, and then you're going to get a nice even tag. I used to try to eyeball it because I am pretty good at eyeballing things, but too many of them just come out looking really weird. So actually, I think I'm going to trim that off just a bit. And then I'll put a hole in it. Oops, not quite centered. So I'll just do a double one, and I can come back in and clean that up. So there's a tag. I'll do another tag. Actually, this one's a nice size for a journal card, or I could do a tag with the music at the top. That one's, oh, that's different. This one I'll do as a tag. And a smaller triangle this time. Flip it over. And I do have trouble getting my holes punched right in the middle. That's not too bad. And then I have got brown and black reinforcers that I can use. I think I'll do a black one on here. I could do a red one or a green one too, would look nice. And I'll just use my tacky glue because it's close, but I would normally use my 3-in-1 on that, and that just sort of finishes it off. Makes it look like a quote-unquote real tag. I know it is real, but you know what I mean. And that hole could have been down just a little for this particular reinforcer. Yeah, so that's how I would do those and how I would use them. And then I can, of course, put some twine or red ribbon or green ribbon through that. So that's how I use the napkin overlays to make ephemera. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to go join my hubby for some supper. It's just finishing up in the oven. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.